When you picture elite special operations, your mind probably goes straight to the door kickers, the highly publicized assaulters of Delta Force or SEAL Team 6, rushing into a compound under the green glow of night vision. But the most heavily armed, perfectly trained strike force on the planet has a massive built-in limitation. If they don't know the exact coordinates of their target, their physical capabilities mean absolutely nothing. To understand how the military solves this, you have to look at the structure of the Joint Special Operations Command, or JSOC. They divide their elite units by color. Delta Force is Task Force Green, SEAL Team 6 is Task Force Blue. But these kinetic units operate in silos until a central node, Task Force Orange, activates, feeding them the precise data they need to strike. This invisible, highly classified intelligence network provides the military's true lethal edge, mapping the battlefield and guiding the shooters to the exact point of contact. This reliance on precise intelligence was learned the hard way. In 1980, 52 Americans were held hostage inside the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. As military planners drew up a rescue mission, they realized they had almost zero tactical data on the ground inside Iran. The resulting rescue attempt, Operation Eagle Claw, ended in a devastating collision between a helicopter and a transport plane in the Iranian desert. 8 servicemen died. The elite assault force never even made it to Tehran. In the aftermath, the Pentagon conducted a brutal postmortem. They concluded that outsourcing close target, pre-assault reconnaissance to civilian agencies, like the CIA, left military strike teams dangerously exposed. They needed operators who understood exactly what a helicopter assault force required. To fix this, the Army stood up a completely new element. They created a permanent, covert unit of spy soldiers called the Intelligence Support Activity, or ISA, to guarantee that American strike forces would never fly blind into hostile territory again. Today, the Intelligence Support Activity operates under the JSOC umbrella as Task Force Orange. These operators function as specialized information harvesters, focusing their training on data collection to support the heavy hitters in Delta and DevGRU. They gather this data through 2 main channels. The first is human intelligence, or HUMINT. Orange operators are known to construct elaborate ironclad civilian covers. Some have spent years living inside hostile nations, posing as legitimate businessmen to cultivate local assets and monitor targets up close. The second channel is signals intelligence, or SIGINT. Operators hack into cyber networks, intercept encrypted communications, and use tracking equipment to geolocate signals in real time. When these 2 streams merge, the result is a precise 3-dimensional map of the objective. Task Force Orange maps the target's entire ecosystem. They track the guard rotations, the local police response times, and the building's structural weak points. By the time an assault team boards a helicopter, the unknown variables have been nearly eliminated. To gather this highly granular data, the ISA performs what are known as advanced force operations. This means deploying small teams of operators into the target zone weeks, or even months before the trigger pullers arrive. Once on the ground, they conduct environmental reconnaissance. They will hike deep into the mountains to set up hidden observation posts, test the local soil density to ensure heavy transport helicopters won't sink upon landing, and sample the weather conditions. We can see exactly how effective this doctrine is by looking at an early historical case. In December 1981, U.S. Army Brigadier James Dozier was kidnapped in Verona, Italy, by the Red Brigade's terrorist group. The military launched Operation Winter Harvest, deploying an early ISA signals intelligence team to the region. Working alongside Italian authorities, they used ground-based and aerial tracking systems to monitor Red Brigade's communications, eventually tracing the radio signals to an apartment over a store in Padova. Based on those precise coordinates, Italian special police breached the apartment and rescued General Dozier without a single shot being fired. It proved the core philosophy driving the unit. Perfect intelligence isolates the enemy and allows for surgical, bloodless resolutions. Because ISA operators frequently infiltrate sovereign nations where the United States is not officially at war, exposing their presence would trigger massive diplomatic fallout. Consequently, their operational security is extreme. The unit runs a bureaucratic shell game to obscure its existence. Every 2 years, it rotates its Special Access Program codename. Over the decades, it has operated as Centra Spike, Gray Fox, and Intrepid Spear, generating a fog of confusion designed to outpace foreign intelligence and domestic oversight. JSOC even established a dedicated logistics pipeline just to move these spies around the globe undetected. They created completely separate, highly classified aviation units, operating under names like Seaspray or the Aviation Technology Office, using front companies to register and maintain unmarked aircraft. Task Force Orange is deliberately compartmented. It is architected so tightly that even the vast majority of the Pentagon leadership has no idea where its operators are deployed on any given day. By the time the War on Terror reached Iraq and Afghanistan, the fixed front lines of 20th century warfare had largely evaporated. U.S. strike teams were conducting multiple raids a night. In this environment, the physical act of assaulting a compound became routine. The actual point of friction was simply figuring out which house the target was sleeping in. JSOC evolved into a relentless, industrial-scale counterterrorism machine. Strike teams would hit a target, recover cell phones and hard drives, pass them to intelligence operators who would crack the data and pinpoint the next location, generating a continuous, self-feeding loop of raids. The ultimate power of America's special mission units is found in their sight. This invisible framework identifies the correct door long before an operator arrives.